Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Chassidus in the morning, 15 minutes. Kunches Inyanah Toras Chassidus. This share is in refuah shleimah for Chaim Baruch Eliezer ben Raisa Esther, and for the yahrzeit in honor of the yahrzeit of Tzipporah bas Chaim Yitzchak, this is the first yahrzeit that the nishmas have an aliyah. All the good things should come. An ultimate aliyah with Mashiach and Tchias HaMeisim, as we're discussing Meida'ani. So we're up to Ois Hey. So until now we've been discussing essentially what is Chassidus, that it's the Etzem. And we said in Daled, we said even though Torah is also this Etzem, but the way it's revealed into different parts, whether it's Pshat, Remesh, and Side, it's concealing the etzemkeit of it. Unlike Chassidus, which is doesn't ever lose that etzemkeit, the essence or the quintessentialness. Yeah. So now we're going to understand that how it applies, how we understand this in terms of Mashiach. And so we're going to learn Mashiach because, like we said before, through understanding the reward, we'll understand the idea, and the reward of Chassidus, revealing Chassidus, is Mashiach. Yeah. Okay. So we said, so then we said yesterday that there's a lot of concepts, a lot of aspects of Mashiach. There's we're going to have knowledge, and the world is going to be, refilled with this knowledge of God and a great relation of godliness. But that's not all. Like we said before, that's not what Mashiach essentially is. That's just an akal Mashiach essentially. Mashiach essentially is Atzvus. So now we're going to continue going on this subject, and then we're going to talk about it, and probably tomorrow we're going to discuss how it works with, like, another example is oil. And Noah's giving us all these examples to really appreciate what we're talking about over here. Hey, Inyanah. So what is Mashiach? Before we talked about all these different concepts that describe Mashiach, but that's not what Mashiach essentially is. What is Mashiach essentially? It's Yechidah. It's the level of Yechidah. Kiyadua, as Yechidah meaning, and we're going to discuss it. Like, it means oneness. That one, that unity. That it's above parts. It's a level very much connected with God. Kiyadua sheDavid zachal b'chinas nefesh. Like, it's known that David reached the level of nefesh. There's 5 levels in our soul, and the first 3 correspond to within us. Like the nefesh is sort of like the physical body. The ruach is like the emotions. And the shama is like the intellect, and the Chaim and the Chida are sort of hovering above us. The Chida is totally above, as we're going to explain. David reaches the level of nefesh, so to speak, the level of the soul that gives us life. Eliyahu gave us the level of ruach, which is sort of connected with our emotions. Moshe connected with the chachma, with our intellect, and gave life to that. Adam Risha and Chaya, and Adam Risha and reached the level of Chaya, which is like the Ratzon, which is above us. Mashiach yizke liyichida, whereas Mashiach will merit to tapping into that level of Yechidah. So Mashiach is even higher than Adam Rishon. So Ma'ila Yechidah al Dad b'chinas nefesh neshama chaya chamisha madrega shel kol neshama. So the Ma'ila of the Yechidah on all these 4 levels, which is Daled b'chinas nefesh neshama chaya heim madregas pratim. It's that they are all specific levels. Like we said before, the nefesh connects with the physical, neshama with the emotional, then chaya, nefesh, neshama. The neshama is with the intellect. So they're all specific levels. B'chinas yechida he etzem on neshama shalamayim. Let me get a part. Whereas the yechida is not a specific idea, it's not a specific point. It's above details. It's a level above details. Like we talked about many times already. There's us as we do certain things, and then there's who we essentially are. And the Yechid is who we essentially are. It's like, like I'm doing this parenting course with Shei's Tab. It's one of the points. The first 2 classes is you have to recognize that you have to look at yourself from your neshama. Your neshama is one with Hashem, and just like Hashem is infinite, and He has infinite kindness, infinite compassion, infinite love. So too we do have this. That's sort of the same idea. This is sort of like, that's like the Chassidic version of parenting. You can say there's parenting that how I have to behave in certain ways, and they're all specific details, and it could be all true, but in its source, in the Yechida aspect of parenting, you have to recognize you from this level of the Yechida. The Yechida is one with Hashem, that you have a part of your own Hashem, and you have to recognize Yechida in your child, which he is also one with Hashem. That's what we're talking about over here. And because it's coming from that essential place, it's above specifics, specified definitions, bring it down to very big specifics. Kishma, like its name, Yechida is Yachid, singular. Even though that coming from the Yechida is these levels, but when we talk about the Yechida, we talk about it, it's not as it is a source for these levels. Now, of course it is, because they come from it. But the Yechida is really a level in and of itself, by itself. It's not related to these levels. Because we say the word Yechida, you're describing a level of unity, oneness, of singularity, that there's nothing else coming from it. It's not a source for anything. It's not nothing coming from it. It's above all that level. Similar, like when we say, and also not for any details. Like no difference between one and singular. We say one means there's also 2, 3, 4, singular, there's nothing else. This is the central point of the neshama. But from it, because it's the source of everything, so everything comes from it. But that's not what it is. It's like for example, there's a child that's behaving or misbehaving, and a parent is angry or not angry or unhappy or happy, and have this level of relationship. And this is a lot of the relationship that we have with our children on a day-to-day basis. They're behaving, they're listening, they're not listening, and you go through this sort of level of struggle. Now, if God forbid that child, for whatever reason, runs onto the road, and as a miracle happens and gets saved, and the kid's all fine, you could have had the worst day with that child. You could have been to the many myriads of incidences that happened, fights, and then, not happy. You could be very angry at that child. But when that happens, you grab that child, you hug them like it's no tomorrow, and you are the happiest person alive to have that child, and nothing happened to them. What's the difference? During the day, you're dealing with your child on different levels of the nefesh, ruach, neshama, but it's more nefesh, ruach, neshama. Yeah. Whereas when that happens to your child, what gets revealed? The Yechida aspect of it's my child, that we're one, that this is my creation coming from me with the help of God, of course, but this is and I would never want to lose that. Even though they're misbehaving, even though they're doing bad things, but at that point, when that car comes, all that gets put away, and what you're doing, you're tapping into this deeper level within you, deeper level of the relationship. That it's not a relationship based off specifics. It's not I like him because he's done something. I like him because he's behaving. Or I don't like him because he's not behaving. It's irrelevant. It's my son. It's my daughter, and it's that level that you're reaching, which is the same idea over here we're talking about. The Yachid, the Yechida, it's not my son, how he is behaving in a specific way. This is my child. This is an essential point of the neshama. But all these other levels come from it. Practice, just like in every specific neshama, the yechida within our neshama, this is the quintessential point of the neshama. So too with, so to speak, the neshama of the whole world. Just like within us, this is that idea. Also within the world itself, there is this. The yechida of the world, which is Mashiach, which is Mashiach. It's the essential point of life force. It's above any description, any form. Although, like we said before, that ultimately will come from it all these different levels in the creation, but the Yechida is that level above all those things. Because the essential life force is not limited. Yeah, and from that level of the Yechidah, of the level of Mashiach, comes all the details. Nefesh Chaya, the Chlolos, the general Nefesh Neshama Chaya. Yeah, Kiatzem Achayus, who built in Mugbal, because the essential life force is not limited in anything. And the infinite aspect of it is only this level of infinite immortality. And it's not even affected by time. The essence, it's above time and space. It's above all these things. It's an essential thing. And that's what the Yechid is. That's the aspect of Mashiach is. We'll skip the brackets for now. Ella, gam b'inyanah ha'echus v'hamayla, even in the category of the quality and quantity, sheshalem hu b'tachas shleimus is an ultimate completeness. V'lachein tumshach v'elemes b'chidas yechidas. So when that level of yechidah, which is complete in ultimate completeness, comes down into the world, that will cause that when Mashiach comes, we can live forever. Because you're tapping this level that's above the time and above these limitations of what happens in the physical world. And so when that's revealed, so all these issues that come about being in the physical world gets away, like living. Ultimately in the fullest extent and completeness. Doing the brackets. This is also one of the reasons love it, and Mashiach comes, we'll live forever. Now that we don't have Mashiach, we don't have this revelation of Mashiach, of this Yechidah. It's only an ispashtus, a spreading out of the chayos. It's not the etzum chayos, it's what's coming out. Therefore, it's a lower level, and it's a defined level, and that level has the limitations of non forever. So it has death. But when you're spreading something out, when you're giving something outside of you, so it's limited. It's not connected to you. It's not connected to that infinite. Until it can actually stop. Whereas when Mashiach comes, and the essential life force will be drawn. It doesn't change. So therefore, just like the etzem lives, so everything else will live and continue to live, and it doesn't stop. Yeah. So we'll do a little bit more. We'll get into, I guess, Vav. So like we were saying before, we sort of saying it in different words, but the same message is that there's an essence of everything. But from that, things come out of. There's the essence of who we are. And our job is to tap into that and recognize that and look at ourselves from that etzem, from that nefesh elikis, that yechidah. And then there's the yechidah of the world. There's the yechidah, Mashiach is the yechidah, Toras is the yechidah, and Chassidus is the yechidah. And that's how we have to recognize these things. And when we look at ourselves from that place, or look at the Chassidus that we learn from that place, and we recognize the Mashiach from that place, it gives it a whole, it upgrades it to a whole different level. Vav, Ka'amr on page 43 in this book. Ka'amr le'el, like we explained above, mischar shafas is a Chassidus bias Mashiach nedes mehusa. And the spreading out of Chassidus will understand the essence of what it is. All the chidush that Chassidus gives, all the novel ideas that Chassidus brings out about Torah, even the level of the Yisod, which is the Kabbalah, that it's mechadesh, it brings novelty into that level. Ba'avodas Adam, Hanhaga, the Lifnim Mishus Adin, or like we explained before, like these levels of the fact that Chassidus brings about that we understand Kabbalah better and that we can do things above the letter of the law. We said about the burning of the nails, and also like we talked about transforming ourselves. All these levels that we said in the first chapter, the Chlalus Ha'elam, in the general world, this Erus, Me'aispailus, and waking us up from this halfus, from this slumber that we had about the Baal Shem Tov, all these answers that we gave, what Chassidus is, Einam Chidushim, Shekol Echad Ve'echad Mischadesh Hu B'fnei Atzmai. It's not a novel idea that by itself, it's a separate novel idea. Ki'im, It is haChassidus chayus chadash. Being a Chassidus is a novel life force. It's brand new. Chayus atzmi, the bechinas yechida. It's an essential life force that's coming from the level of yechida. This oneness with Hashem. And then when that new chayus, that is Chassidus, it's nimshah ha'olam comes down to the world. Toras haChassidus, haChassidus, Aidei Kvei Kedusha Baal Shem Tov, the Baal Shem Tov is Chassidus, and then Harav Magid Chassidus, v'chul v'achakach Aidei Toras Chassidus Chabad, and then specifically coming through Chassidus Chabad, Aidei Haneshama Chadash, through the Alter Rebbe, Kvei Kedusha Admar Zaken, Baal HaNesimcha Gula, the Neshama, which was the Alter Rebbe. So his chilu kol Inyanah Eilam lahachiyos b'chayus Chadash. That Chassidus brought, because Chassidus is this etzem. So this new chayus was brought in to the world, and that's Chassidus Chabad, and that's Chassidus in general. Chassidus Chabad, but Chassidus is that etzem, chayus atzim, which is an essential chayus. Ubemele, and automatically this chayus b'hem kama yanim. Like so now he's sort of tapping it back in because of the fact that that's what Chassidus is. It expresses itself in these different ideas, like burning the nails, and like bringing the world out of this slumber and transforming yourself. They're coming from that etzem what Chassidus is. Chassidus is the etzem, it's the oneness with Hashem, it's the yechida, and because that's what it is, so that's how it comes out and expresses itself. And tomorrow we're going to explain what has oil got to do with all this.